Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Green Dragons Gaming Club. Without us, they wouldn't feel like winners. Without them, we couldn't look so good. So again, I went to Hogsfest this last weekend. Had a blast. Jeff runs an incredible, smooth tournament for the most part. Um, I'd say the only thing was time that I mentioned last time, and you take that out of the equation, that was by far one of the best events I've ever been to. And again, Jeff, if you're watching this, thank you so much for running it. It was awesome. And I just had fun, just flat out had fun. So this is, again, Ninth Age Fantasy Battles and 4500 up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And this is game two at Hogsfest 2019. Again, sorry I don't have the little Peter Piggly Wiggly or whatever image Jeff got for Hogsfest. Looks like a very early edition of Porky Pig. So I lost the last game 12-8, and that put me on going against Fergus. And Fergus, I met Fergus about 2 years ago up at not Jeremy runs that tournament. It was Jeremy and Lenny were running it. It's out in Chicago. It's not Adepticon. It took its Corner Hammer. I can't believe I forgot the name Corner Hammer. Met him over at Corner Hammer, and he was dressed like King Tut. He was playing Undying Dynasties. He looked like he was larger than life. So I was so happy to be playing this guy. This here was his army list. Let's see. I went over both our lists last time. I'm definitely going to spend a little bit of time just reviewing his list. So a few things I want to point out about Fergus's list is, first off, his prince. He has a prince that has the Silver of the Blazing Dawn, which is that spear that everyone hates to play against. Then he's got his general. That's another prince. That's a master of the Conrad Tower. And that's really it. He doesn't have a BSB or anything like that. He was new. He was new to the army, but looking at this list, two or three things I know I would have an issue dealing with is he's got a huge brick of spears, all right, which is never good, and it has +1 charge, so now there's speed 6 on the charge, and they're only strength 3 at AP AP 2 if I charge them, AP 1, so it's not what my army likes to go up against. Let's see, he's got a big brick of Flame Wardens. Those are always a pain to deal with because they have 4 up Aegis save, and then the Lion Guard, and that's where you can put your, I think they're Stubborn General or Lion something, Lion Honor. And again, so a Stubborn Brick is definitely something that, as a KoE player, I don't want to have to go deal with. He has the Reapers to go against my armor, Frost Phoenix. No one's really playing Phoenixes right now. I'm going to look into that, but I've got so much else going on. He's got 2 darts of Lancers that I actually do like, and Grey Watchers I think are so underplayed. I think they're an awesome unit. Here's my list. Watch video 1 and I'll go through it all. If not, just pause it, read it, do what you want with it. So here's the board, and we're playing Hold Center, and it's Refuse Flanks. And for those of you who have never seen Fergus before, there's the man, the myth, the legend, larger than life. And we were having fun with this game. We really, really were. And I want to say I had first turn. I moved up my yeoman on the one flank to block him, and I went ahead and positioned my knights up on the hill. I basically edged everything up forward, and that was it. Now, he definitely respected my range with my units, and he moved up as so, and basically he's going to go ahead and kill my chaff with what is he? He threw in his Grey Watchers because I had him blocked with the Grey Watchers. Personally, I was expecting him to throw his Lancers in there, just to go ahead and make him pop, but instead he threw in his Grey Watchers, and that's how things looked. And instead of breaking, because I was within 12 inches of my BSB, I was in 18 inches of my Lord, they actually end up holding. And this is this. Now, if you notice, you can. So now we get into turn 2. I think the bottom of 2. He actually had first turn. Bottom of 2. He charges his Lancers into my Peasant Crusaders that are on the bottom right, as you can see. And I'm sorry, you have Grail Knights to the top, Knights of the Realm next to them, then my Duke, then my Aspirants. Behind them, another unit of Yeomen. And then I've got, of course, the 2 Bolt Throwers. The one is up on the hill. And the Archers and the Peasant Crusaders. The Peasant Crusaders are outside my leadership bubble, which was a mistake, but I didn't worry about it. Because honestly, for 155 points, the unit has ranks, has hatred. I'm okay. That's all I can say is I'm okay. But I still ended up losing that combat because he's hitting on 3s, winning on 2s, negates any armor save I may have, and the unit just goes poof, and he chases him down and runs off the board. So I don't get to shoot with a bolt thrower. And there's that, and that's where the Crusaders end up on the side of the table. My turn, because now he's completely held up and stuck there. You just see all-out charges. That unpainted unit, sorry, Gene, but yes, Fergus has an unpainted unit. The rest of it is coming along beautifully, so I can't wait to see until that's done. He just looked at it, it's like, I really don't have anywhere to go, because I believe first I declared the Knights of the Realm, and then the Duke, and then the Aspirants, in which case, had he fled from the Realm, okay, may have stood on the board. I forget what we thought. Then the Duke, probably go off. Then the Aspirants, they're probably toast. And the Grail Knights are going to go right into the... you can't really see but a unit of Silver Helms. So basically, it's an all-out charge. He was expecting that unit to hold up more than what it did. Unfortunately, between the impact banners and then the Duke, and I think I had a couple buff spells up, and I was able to keep the Knights of the Realm basically only touching one model. So he was not going to do enough wounds to me to negate what I was doing to him, and I threw my BSB into that combat as well. It was brutal. His Lord failed to do wounds because, again, as I said, I had combat buffs up. I think his Lord went to swing at my Lord and do something. Whatever it did, it just basically did next to nothing. It only killed a few Knights, Aspirants after all was said and done. My Bolt Throwers went ahead and put 4 wounds onto the Frost Phoenix. And that's it. So at this point, it's not looking good. I've got the Aspirants and the Duke lined up. They can see the Bolt Throwers, and the Archers are, pardon me, holding their own. He goes ahead and declares a charge on my Archers. They actually, so that's what he's measuring there. They make their terror test, their panic test on their own leadership because they're out, and I didn't care about them at this point. But they passed their own panic test, and then he fails his charge. So I'm like, okay, I can live with this. He puts 1 wound onto one of my Bolt Throwers. I forget how he did that. I don't remember if it was magic or his own Bolt Thrower or something like that. And let's see. Then I went ahead, I chaffed him up over here, Set my character went into the one bolt thrower. My aspirants went into the other bolt thrower. I've got him chaffed up perfectly so that I can basically do whatever I need to go do at this point. And of those 2 units, the one that I'm threatened the more by is the white lines because they're stubborn. Next turn, he gets into my archers. He charges my chaff with his, I forget what the heck they're called now, but the Phoenix Guard. They're not Queens. I forget what they're called again. The Lancers that came on the turn before go ahead, take care of the bolt thrower, and the Phoenix, believe it or not, the archers stick around and take a charge. And the Lancers easily make mincemeat out of that. He easily goes ahead and kills my what the hell? The second bolt thrower. So at this point, he ate my chaff. He kills my bolt thrower. My archers are fleeing because they got eaten by a frost phoenix, and they actually do rally on their own too. But during this turn, I'm looking at him like, all right, what do I do? The way he's set up is the Duke is going to go in the flank of the Phoenix Guard, Phoenix Wardens, Fire Wardens, or whatever they're called now. But the Wardens, the Grail Knights, of course, are going to go right into them as well because let's see, they have divine attacks. Then I have the Knights of the Realm going into the Lions as well as the Aspirants. So again, everything's getting double teamed, and that's that. That's how it looks, and it's all really, really tight. His one unit of the Wardens, they break and flee. The White Lions hold, and I kept plugging away at them, and then finally the everything else just goes in, finishes up the job. I believe this is how we ended. We got called on time. I'm going to go back quick. You can see we only managed 4 turns. Again, time was the one thing with this tournament, but you take that out of the factor. I mean, the terrain was great. He had mats on all the boards. Everything was a map pack. He had everything set up, and I liked. And I'm going to steal this from him. Is he said if you need to see the pack, look it up online. It's more environmental friendly and things like that, and you just have to respect that. And he answered any questions that you may have had. And that is, as I said, I can't remember if that unit broke. I'm pretty sure that unit broke and just got eaten. So at the end of the game, he had his silver helms and a wounded Phoenix. He does manage to heal one of the wounds on that thing. And yeah, it's but meanwhile, I lost everything except for the knights and the characters, which for me is good. It's bulk of my points. Ends up being a victory for the King of Equitaine at 16-4. And he... I'm going to go back at just a few picks, or to the... Because I like his list. I mean, those 2 blocks are scary. I don't want to go deal with them because he's got 3 close combat bricks. The 1 prince gives that 1 unit what it needs. It was just... I just I'd like to see Reavers or something else, or Eagles, something else in this list to give him chaff. Pardon me, because that's I think the one weakness of his list, and because he didn't have chaff, it just allowed me to dictate the combats and get in where I needed to, and because of that, it was it was a very handed victory. I'm not going to say it was an easy victory because I definitely had things to worry about, because the spears, charging into spears, is definitely not a good thing to do. And had it not been for buffs and being able to get the Knights of the Realm on the one side so that I would still be having more ranks, all the impact hits. If it wasn't for that, the spears would definitely scare me. Getting the Grails in against the Wardens was, again, that was very fortuitous. And what I wanted, of course. And he's like, oh, I didn't realize I had Divine. And I got 20 roots off on that unit too, which lowered his offensive defenses. So I was hitting him on threes all of a sudden. And it just wasn't pretty. And again, white line's just being stubborn. So it literally comes down to being able to dictate the charges, which I think that any army, not just KoE, but any army that's able to do that is going to win. With that said, going back to this slide, upcoming tournaments, I know we have, I believe, Pacific Rim, so reach out to Kenyon. If you need his information, do me a favor. I'm not saying last things purposely on these things. Do me a favor, reach out to me, and we will go from there. I'll try to get his information. That is December 7th. You got Grail Quest out here on the East Coast. That's also December 7th. You have Masters is the 4th weekend of January, which is Pro Bowl weekend. That's just going to be in Ohio. Colonial Carnage is in February. Corner Hammer is in March. Battle Cry out here on the East Coast is in April. And I don't know what comes after May and June. We need to see what's going on with Brawlers and a bunch of other different tournaments. So that's it. Any questions or concerns, definitely reach out to me. Thank you. And until next time, happy gaming.